Happy Tuesday, y'all. What is happening?
Happy Tuesday.
Hello. Hi, Marcia.
Hi. You have a nice tan.
Thanks. Probably won't last long.
That's what happens when you don't go outside.
That is what happens when you don't go outside. Well, welcome, y'all. Welcome to Tampa Tuesday. Tampa Talk Tuesdays is our favorite day of the week. We get to engage with the great viewers of this channel and our people who either love Tampa, live in Tampa, or want to live in Tampa. So that's our favorite place to be. My name is Juan Alcala. I am a licensed real estate agent and a team leader here with the True Living Group. I am joined by these lovely and talented ladies. We got Miss Marcia Railton to the south out of Bradenton, Florida. Hello, Marcia.
Hi. Happy
Awesome.
Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday. And your video this week was amazing. Tampa versus Sarasota, which is very difficult to make, y'all. Right?
It was fun to make, though.
Yeah. But it's like picking between a child, right? You're like, which one do I love more? Y'all love them both.
Yeah.
There's a wrong answer here, right? And we're also joined by Miss Stacy Amon, who is returning from her vacation. How was that, by the way?
Hello. It was awesome. We had great weather, except for the last 2 days. It was kind of rainy, but the beach was wonderful. Spent a lot of quality time with the family.
It's awesome. Did y'all get hit by all that Sahara dust that's flying across the Atlantic?
We did not.
Okay,
No,
that's good.
I missed that.
I'm happy for y'all because you did bring the rain back, so we're not happy about that.
Well, hey, at least my flowers didn't die when I was gone. I was really worried. I was going to come back and everything was going to be dead.
Yep. That's a fact. Well, talk about tonight. We get some interesting things to talk about. Insurance seems to be the topic of everybody's conversation table. We're going to get into that because it is just Wally world down here right now. And it's not just us for the first time. Guess what? California's having problems with insurance too. So it is a very interesting. I was fascinated when I really started digging into this, and we've done I've done an entire video, brought an insurance professional on here, had her explain in detail. Y'all can go check that on the channel. If you're not following us on YouTube, go over to our YouTube channel, Living in Tampa, Florida, subscribe. You can find that there where that she walked us through in detail about the challenges, why things the way they are, and why we just keep seeing these challenges come up. Because if you're not from Florida, you think it's because of the weather, right? You think it's because of the weather, and for everyone else, they think it's because of politics, which is even funnier. And that's including the residents of the state, right? Everybody likes to blame somebody about everything, right? So that's just the nature of human beings. It's just where we roll. But man, when I was digging into this info, some interesting stuff. Florida accounts for 76% approximately, right? 76% of all the insurance litigation in the entire country.
Oh.
Wrap your mind around
all kinds of insurance or property insurance?
Property insurance claims. So I'll show you these stats here in a minute because I found it fascinating. But here's what's unique. You hear that and you're like, well, of course you do. You gotta have hurricanes and all kinds of crazy stuff, right? Well, we only account for 8% of the nation's homeowners claims. Yep. Wrap your mind around that, right? Because remember, litigation and suing insurance companies is different than filing a claim, right? And trying to get a claim met. But most people, I think, or myself included, before living here, would have thought that Florida was a majority, right? Or at least a healthy portion of the homeowner claims in the United States, right? In my mind, hurricanes, tough storms, flooding, like it just, in my mind, that made sense. But we only account for 8%. Now, 8% is a lot. Don't get me wrong, but like you think it's way more. And it's not. So we're going to get into some of those numbers today. I know insurance talk, everybody's like, woohoo, yay. But, we've said it many times before. We're here to give you all the good, the bad, the ugly. Because it is. Things are interesting. I want to talk about some of the increases that people should expect to see this year, what insurance companies might be the best fit for you. So we're going to talk about that today. Foreign investment. The state of Florida just recently banned a specific group of investors from buying real estate here in the state. So that's interesting because almost 22% of all investment property is from foreigners. Now, it's not everyone, but we'll get into the details about that. So it's important to know on that end as well. And we'll, of course, talk about all the great things that are happening here local. We're going to talk about some beaches. We're going to talk about what's happening out in the marketplace specifically. So just wanted to kind of kick off with that. Ladies, speaking of real estate here in the Tampa Bay area, it has been a very interesting few weeks. Last week, interest rates peaked at 7.14% on Friday, which is an awakening for most of us. Pulling up Mortgage News Daily right now to see what it closed at today. Oh, hey, we're down 7.09%. Hey, falling out of control. So it's good to see that. And I just made a video recently about buying the pause right now. So we're waiting on consumer pricing index data. We're waiting on inflation information, right, to see what the Federal Reserve is going to do. The market is betting that the Federal Reserve is going to raise rates after their end of July meeting coming in August. And I made a video about buying the pause. Like, you took a break after 10 consecutive meetings and raising rates throughout those 10 meetings. They took a break. I was definitely, it was nice to see that, but it also was discouraging because at the same time, they said they're going to raise rates at least let me take a step back. The quote was, we expect to see at least two more Fed rate increases throughout the remainder of the year. So definitely something to be mindful of. Okay. Now we're going to get all those topics, but here's what I would love to know. Where are you watching from? From our viewers, whether you're watching on Facebook or you are watching on YouTube, wherever you're watching at, let us know where you're watching from. We'd love to connect. For those of you who are on Facebook, forgive me for not responding last time. For whatever reason, the system was not pulling your comments into the chat. So the best place to do that, y'all, is on YouTube, just so you know. So if you want to know what's going on there, don't hesitate to pop over. Derek said Top Golf in St. Pete finally opened. Yes. Didn't we cover that 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, she talked about it, I remember.
Perfect. Yeah.
I noticed it when I was driving on 275 after you mentioned where it was. I spotted it.
Yeah, it's huge. You can't miss it, right? Like that big cage that's as you come over the Howard Franklin Bridge over the Tampa Bay. If you're coming from Tampa to Pinellas County, the Gulf Beaches, once you get over the bridge and you come into Pinellas County, you can't miss it. I mean, that cage is enormous. It is huge, but I'm excited for that. I did not go on opening day because it was, I think the heat index was like 102. So I had zero interest in hanging out outside and sweating like that. And I know that the bays are quote unquote climate controlled, but y'all, it's an open forum over there. It's hot. So it's been a really warm last few days. So it's starting to cool back down now. We'll definitely check that out here coming up soon. I'll take some video and I'll share it with you guys for sure. So excited for that. But ladies, let's talk about what's happening here, right? Because we're still seeing some interesting things. I was out with clients this weekend. It was a 1-day listing here in Dunedin, Florida. And they had multiple offers, ended up with 7 offers. We got beat out. Our offer was $40,000 over asking, and we didn't get it accepted. And yeah, and they ended up taking a cash offer. So it potentially could have been less money because, people will take less cash sometimes, not all the time. Our offer was really good. But we're still seeing this really competitive market on properties that deserve it. And what I mean by that is homes that are move-in ready, that have been well cared for or recently updated and have things like a pool. This was one of those properties. It was a home in Dunedin under $500,000 with a pool, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, almost 1,600 square foot. The roof was new. The AC was newer. Great property, and it sold in 1 day. And, you're just seeing this competitive market, but you're also seeing those properties that are on the fringe, that have been neglected. Those are the properties that we're seeing take these price adjustments that are lingering around. And think about it, right? Like most people don't want to take on a project at 7%. So we're just seeing this. And I know we've shared this with the room before, but y'all, there's been very interesting information coming out the last few weeks. You heard that property values have declined for the first time in 7 years, but we have to read through the numbers sometimes. You see those headlines, you're like, oh, prices are going down. And it's not true. Only one city out of the top 100 metros had a decline in property values. The other 99 are up. And over the last 4 weeks, sellers are getting 100.1% of their asking price on average. So and interest rates are going up at the same time. This doesn't make sense, right? Like as a sane, rational human being, you're like, how in the world can this continue, right? So I wanted to start talking about this a little bit and just kind of get some perspective from you two, because you're in the market every day, right? You two are showing houses almost every day or every other day for sure. We have clients flying in all over the country, right? Purchasing from everywhere, the Northeast, the West, the Midwest, they're buying from all over the place. And we are seeing some clients pull back right now. People that were on the fringe in terms of where they were on their budget, some of them are having to make a decision that they can't make a purchase right now. So it's starting to impact people. But we also live in a marketplace where people have an abundant amount of cash and they're able to make moves when other people aren't. So we're seeing that too. So I wanted to start today and just talk a little bit about what you ladies are seeing in the marketplace for the first few minutes here before we get into some of your topics that you brought. And they brought some great topics, y'all. So I can't wait to share with you. But, Marcia, I know that you've been running around all week while Stacy's on vacation.
He's done it for me.
Thank you, Marcia. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Yeah, but what have you been seeing in the marketplace in terms of let's talk about the quality of the properties that you're seeing, and again, the amount of interest that you're seeing on these properties.
I see less quality properties, meaning the properties you're talking about that look great, that people can just walk in, buy, and move in. I'm seeing that people are buying the people that would normally be interested in resales and taking on projects are not wanting to do that because, like you said, the interest rates, they're finding that they just can't afford to buy the house and then spend a ton of money on fixing it up when they can purchase a brand new home that they get incentives from the buyer, from the builder. So I've had a lot of people switch from thinking they'd go for the resale to buying new. I think that's the biggest change recently is not going to resales that aren't spick and span and pretty on MLS. People just don't want to even look at them anymore. It's I always feel like HGTV made a big change in the way people looked at houses because they expect it to look really good. And I guess some people haven't caught news of that have listed their home and haven't gotten it up to what people are expecting. So,
that makes sense. And I got a call from the DR Horton rep that we've done business with over in Solera in Lakewood Ranch on Friday, letting me know that they had some really good deals in my mind, because the median price point over there is over $700,000. And they were in the mid fives for a 2,100 square foot, 4-bedroom, 3-bath ranch, single story home. With a beautiful 20-foot covered lanai, gorgeous property, the Lantana model, which is one of my favorites. And they were offering a 5.25% interest rate, and also giving $17,000 in incentives in closing cash. So you could take that and apply that to your down payment, or you could take that and apply that to your interest rate and drive it even lower. And that's a great deal. And you're not finding that on resale. So those are definitely some opportunities. Now, not every builder is doing that, right? So you got to be mindful of the product. And with new construction, as we've talked about before, it depends on the community, depends on the builder. Some of these things take as much as 18 months. Some of them are shorter. You've got some work to do in this respect. And some of them, the lot fees are included. Others aren't. Some of them have huge lot premiums on some of these lots that you purchase, others don't. So this is something to be mindful of, but there are good opportunities. Okay. So you got areas like Murata, which is, really just getting up and running up in San Antonio, which is just north of Wesley Chapel up by Stacy. You've got Wesley Chapel, which is still building a lot. They're offering incentives on almost every product that we step foot in. Some are more aggressive than others, and it really just depends on the week and where the interest rates are. And I'll tell you this right now, the higher the interest rates go, the better those deals are going to get from builders. Because we saw it last year, right, Marcia? It slowed down tremendously in September and October last year. And they were throwing good deals at us, $20,000 in incentives and great interest rates. They were throwing really good deals at us. So keep an eye on that, y'all. If the Federal Reserve moves interest rates again, and mortgage rates follow because they're not directly tied to each other, even though they do have parallels. Be mindful of that, because if things start to slow down, remember those builders borrowed money at 5% or at 4%, and they're trying to move those properties. They don't want them sitting around to get them gone. So that's a great perspective, Marcia. And Stacy, I know you were on vacation last week, but what have you been seeing with clients over the last 2 to 4 weeks?
Yeah, pretty much the same thing. Families are wanting to look at homes that have been updated, and they're really interested in new construction or newer homes because of insurance. And a lot of, like you said, a lot of these builders, I was just in a builder yesterday, they're throwing in all appliances, even washer and dryer, blinds, ceiling fans, and throwing in closing cost incentives. So yeah,
nice. Was it
Lennar?
Yeah. So there's some good deals to be had out there, right? Was that what community were you in?
Connerton, out in Land O'Lakes.
Okay.
So kind of close to where Angeline, all that building is going on.
Yeah, we've talked about Angeline before in the community here, but Land O'Lakes has got some very good schools, some top-rated schools out there, y'all. So if that interests you, make sure you connect with Stacy. And on that topic, make sure you connect with us on our socials. We did put our social handles in the on screen here. So you can find Stacy at stacy.amon.realtor. You can find myself at juan.alcala.realtor. And we'll pull Marcia's social handle before the end as well, so you can connect with her there too. But don't hesitate to reach out to us, y'all. You can DM us on Instagram. All of our contact information is down below in the description here on YouTube, but we'll make sure you have it as well. But if you have any questions about these communities, don't hesitate to reach out, because it is some good info. All right, let's talk real quick about this insurance stuff so we can get onto the happy stuff. So I just want to share this with y'all, because we love to talk about what's happening, but I also want to make sure that people are prepared, because they're hearing crazy things too, right? They're hearing stuff that isn't real, and that's the thing. I just want to make sure that we're sharing the objective truth here, the best we can from what we see in our world. Remember, we sell real estate, but we all live here, right? Marcia owns a home. Stacy owns a home. We're in the process of buying a home. Trust me, I know all about insurance right now, right? So I want to make sure that you guys are educated as best possible on this as well. So I want to talk about this a little bit on what's going on here, because you see headlines like I'm about to show you, right? Farmers Insurance to cancel thousands of Florida policies. And you see headlines like this and you're like, what in the world is happening? And it's true, right? You read through the article, they're going to cancel about 30,000 policies here in the state. And they're not writing any new policies because they're finding it very difficult to operate in the environment here. And as we discussed when we got this started, some of you might be watching this and going, well, that's because of hurricane. And it's not, right? Like, that's part of it, make no mistake, but that's not the majority of it. The main issue here, and I'm going to see if I can pull up, I want to make sure that I share this with y'all. The main issue here was this assignment of benefits. If you've never heard of that term before, today you're going to get educated on it. There's this term called assignment of benefits. And what that is, and maybe you ladies can do a good job of explaining this as well, but here's what was happening. Unscrupulous people, and at this point, we're going to talk about contractors, and forgive me, I love a good contractor, so don't think that this is a beat down on contractors specifically, but unscrupulous contractors, especially roofing companies, were coming because of the way that the law was set up in the state. They would come and knock on your door and say, hey, there was a storm here last week, right? You can probably get your roof replaced for free. And all you have to do is sign over this little document to us, and we'll go make sure that we get that money and you get a new roof. And this is what was happening in the state of Florida. And y'all know we have storms, right? We have pretty strong storms around here, especially if you live towards the coast. And then the other thing that was happening with this, okay, so you have a contractor go out and do this, and there was a direct line from the attorney to the insurance companies, and there was a multiplier for the attorneys to go out and sue these insurance companies. This is where all this litigation was coming from, right? So the contractor knew that they could get a roofing job. The homeowner knew that they could get their roof replaced. And I'm not saying that the homeowners knew. Some of them did. Most of them didn't. Y'all, when this first started, they were just like, yeah, there was a storm. The roofer came by and said, I needed a new roof. A lot of people have no idea whether they need a roof or not, right? I'm not a roofer. Stacy, are you a roofer?
Nope.
They don't usually climb up on the roof and
right.
check it out themselves.
No.
That's right. So most people aren't doing that. So when the pro comes by and says, hey, there's something wrong with your roof, we just had a storm. You're like, okay, I don't want my house to leak because that's going to cause a problem. Take care of it. So they go, no problem. Sign this document. And you're signing an assignment of benefits. And what that did was allow them to go hire the attorney to sue the insurance company to get the roof replaced. And the attorney got a bunch of cash, right? The contractors got a bunch of cash and the homeowner got a new roof. Great. Right? That was the thought process, but it caused these problems. Now, this law has since been changed. The assignment of benefits, no go, right? They finally shut this down, and thank God they did, because this is what has been causing a lot of this chaos. And then you add on top of that storms like Ian, right? And now you have the perfect storm of real significant problems. Now, I mentioned Farmers. Farmers is also pulling out of California. Farmers is a California-based company, and they are no longer writing policies in that state. So for anybody who's out there squawking right now about politics, I just want you to put that in check. Okay? Because if you won't even insure your home state where you reside, there's a problem. Okay? And what this boils down to is insurance companies are banks, y'all. They're in the business of making what?
Money.
They're not in the business of making me and you happy. They don't care about our bottom line. They care about theirs. So much so where they won't even write a policy in their own state. Okay. So I just want to make sure that everybody has their head, put your hat on square. Let's have an adult conversation. Okay. Because I have seen so much conversation regarding politics in everywhere. And I'm over it. Right. I'm over it. People live here. 21 million people live in the state of Florida. More than 21 million, right? We're human beings, just like you are, right? I may not agree with what's happening in California, but it doesn't change the fact that I can still love you. I can still love you. Right? Just because we both think we're a little crazy, that's fine. I like crazy. Edgy's good, right? But understand, this is what's going down, okay? So I want to share some more of what I was digging up on this, right? So again, 76% of all of the litigation is coming from our state, which is insane to me. That part just blew my mind. Where did the other one go? Farmers. I lost my my tab. It's making me crazy, so forgive me. Okay, so this is what I was like. I was reading through this article here, and it says Citizens rate hikes are not bad compared to others. And now, for those of you that don't know, Citizens is the insurer of the state. So they're the last insurance company. When no one else will insure a property, the state of Florida has partnered with Citizens. Citizens will take that policy. Well, there's a little bit of a problem with that because as companies run out of the state, Citizens has been growing like crazy. And to give you perspective, in 2019, Citizens held about 420,000 policies. All right, we're going to get into these numbers here in a second. Today, 1.3 million. Since in 4 years, right? That is a huge growth, right? Almost 250,000 policies a year, just a little over. Big numbers. But when you start looking at this, so you start wrapping your mind around, you go, oh my word, can they sustain this, right? Like, is it possible? Well, insurance companies, again, are not in the business of making us happy. They're in the business of making themselves money and quote unquote, protecting our property in case anything ever happens. But as I started to dig into these numbers, Citizens going to have a rate hike. You read this headline, and you're like, oh my goodness, they're having rate hikes. But there's a caveat. Citizens is not raising the rates anywhere near what anybody else is. And they've been the lowest cost insurer for a while now. Okay, because of some laws that were put in place. But I want to show you compared to other private insurance companies, right? Companies with the highest total rate increases over this time period. So, 2019 to now, were Universal Property and Casualty, 40.8%, y'all.
Yeah, that's who we had. And they like tripled our insurance.
Yep. State Farm.
And made us replace our roof.
State Farm was 28.1%. Again, they're not even writing policies. They're not taking any new policies here or in California, as an example. ASI, 61.5%. Castle Key Indemnity, 45.5%. Heritage Property and Casualty, 34%. And Security First at 43.7%. Holy wow. Holy wow. All right. And as I was digging through these, I want to kind of give a little explanation here. So part of the reason, and here's what's happening. I want to get this highlight. So part of the reason that Citizens has been so low is because, again, there were regulations put in place to protect us, the homeowners, right? Save Your Home Act. Like, there's an act that was put together for this. Well, part of the reason Citizen has been so low is because there was a 10% annual cap rate. Okay. And this was put back into legislation in 2009 when Charlie Crist was the governor here in the state. All right. But in last year, there was a vote that from the state legislature that okayed a measure that would increase the cap rate 1% a year over the next 5 years up until 2026, when it would hit a maximum of 15%. Now, when you're reading this, you're going, oh my God, they're going to raise insurance rates 15% every year. Well, that's not necessarily the case. Okay. So last year they tried to go up 10%, and the state legislator said you can only go up 7% or 6.7. And forgive me, I had it all buttoned up in here, but it dropped off. But they could only go up about 6.7%. Okay, so just be mindful of that. There's more to meet the eye in this story here. And then when you look at, as you go down, here's how it's set up. And this is what I found fascinating, because 12.7% up to 13% are what Citizens, the state insurer, is trying to raise the rates of any policyholder for 2023. So if you're a homesteaded property, meaning that you reside in the state of Florida and that's your primary residence, and you have a homestead exemption on that house, they're going to raise your rates. This is what they want to do. Again, the state has to sign off on this, but they're going to raise rates 12.7% if you renew between November 1st and December 31st, and 13%, up to 13% if you renew after January 1st. Now, I read that and I was like, holy cow, that's crazy. But the thing that really blew my mind, and if I can find it, bear with me. This is the one that blew my mind. If it said also, Citizens is now allowed to increase rate charged on vacation and investment homes by 50%. Holy wow. And here's the goal here. The company expects that it will reduce Citizens' population as well. They're trying to get some of us off the books and move us back over to private insurers, right? And balance this out, because they're taking 7,100 new policies a week since January 1st. This article is only a week old. It's fascinating, right? Now, I'm only talking about one insurer here, but this is the state insurance company, right? This is the last line of defense for Florida homeowners. So this is very interesting. Now, if you're watching this and you're like, oh my word, right? This is something to be mindful of. Okay. So like if you're coming down here buying an investment property or a second home and you're going to put it on the coast, you need to be prepared. And here's what I'll say. It's not unaffordable. People will say that, but listen, if you've got enough money to come down and buy an asset to come hang out in 2 or 3 times a year, this is part of the cost of doing business, right? I'm not saying I like it, but this is my tax, right? I don't have a state income tax here. Florida is it is actually the most friendly business state in the country. I have that. I've got receipts for that, y'all. I'm about to show you here in a minute. It is the most 100%. It is the most business friendly state in the entire country. And because of that, I run a real estate practice, right? I'm a business owner. I don't pay personal income tax, state income tax. I do to the federal government. This is an exchange for me, right? And in return, I get abundant sunshine. I get the Gulf of Mexico. I get beautiful beaches. I get flip-flop lifestyle. To me, this is a no-brainer. You have to make a decision that makes the most sense for you. So here's what we're recommending to clients, okay? Which I think is really important to know here. This is our recommendation to y'all. If you're considering coming down here and buying a house during your due diligence period, you need to be getting a homeowner's insurance policy quote during that time period. We recommend that you do that anyways during our process when you work with us. But if you decide not to choose us as your realtor of choice, you better call your agent and say, I want my insurance quote during my due diligence period. Otherwise, you could be in for a world of hurt. Okay. You need to be aware of what it costs to live here. All right. We're talking about 7 to 8% interest rates. And you could be talking, again, I don't want to quote insurance, but we've seen quotes as high as $8,000. And that's not on the water. I'm not talking about oceanfront property. I'm talking about in flood zone AE, a little bit inside the city. Stacy and I have dealt with properties specifically. It was $8,500 for the flood alone. The flood insurance is different than your property insurance, right? That's a big, big, big nut to crack. So I know I'm on a little tangent on this, but I think it's so important, y'all. Like, people come to us because we tell them the truth, right? You're watching this right now. Some of you are mortified, and hey, I can't tell you not to be, but this is the exchange that gets made. Is it going to get better? I don't have hope that it will. Is it possible? Sure. But have we not seen everything else to continue to go up in price? What makes us think that insurance is going to be any different? That's the bank. They want their money. Right? Am I wrong, ladies?
You're
Yeah,
not
it
wrong.
just feels like something's going to have to give. I mean, everything's going up in price. So what isn't? Or what? I think it's just a change of lifestyle.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I believe this is the new norm.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, we all want things to go back to normal, but back in 2018, but y'all, think about it. The Federal Reserve and the government their goal is not to devalue our dollar. Right. Their stated goal for inflation is 2%, meaning that their goal is to raise prices by 2% every year. Right? That's not us saying that. That's the Federal Reserve, who is not federal, nor do they have reserves. Right? But that is their stated goal, and they're hired by the government to do that. So y'all, wrap your mind around that, man. Owning things matters. All right. And it's going to be more and more difficult. I don't doubt that for a second. So it is a very interesting time. We're getting calls like, hey, what do you think is going to happen with the pricing? And, the median home price in the United States dipped by $1,000 over the last 40 days. Now that's the median. Okay. Remember, the median, Marcia gave a great example of what the median was 2 weeks ago. Right, Marcia? It's the middle, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if the middle of the activity is on the lower end of the scale, of course it looks like less, but that doesn't mean values are less. That just means the activity's in a lower category. And if interest rates are higher, is the activity going to be lower in the lower price point or the higher price point naturally? What do we think?
Can you say that one more time?
I said, if the interest rates are high, like at 7 or 8%, like they are right now, where is a majority of the purchase activity going to take place? At a higher price point or a lower price point?
Lower.
Right. Which pushes the median down.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So that's why I want to bring that up. So when you see things like that, and the irony is it's only $1,000 less than it was at the same time last year when, oh, by the way, interest rates were 5.25%, not 7.25%. So when you talk about that, that's as much as $300 to $400 difference on the median price point a month. These things matter. So I say that to you, to the audience here, because waiting for prices to go down while interest rates are going up, the numbers don't work. Okay. And I'm not sitting here telling you just to be foolish with your money. That's not what I'm saying, but you got to look at the whole picture, right? You need price. How much do you need prices to correct to compensate for that high interest rate? And do you believe that's possible? That's what you have to ask yourself as a home buyer, as a home seller. Right. And for those people running around with 3% interest rates, they're not interested in getting into this market right now. So they're holding on to those properties. They're not selling them. This is why inventory is so tight. This is why sales are down 25% and why listings are down almost 40%. Because I don't know too many people who can trade a 3% interest rate for a 7% interest rate. And oh, by the way, you get less for your money and everything costs more. Doesn't make sense. So we're in a really weird spot right now. So I know I just brought the whole room down.
How depressing.
I understand why some people could think that, but what do you do? So you do bury your head in the sand and pretend like it's going to go away? If you do
figure
that,
out a new strategy.
That's right. That's right. Marsha's got it. Marsha's got her head on straight. That's my lady right there. She's got it down. She understands. And that, y'all, that's just where we're at. So if you want to make home ownership a reality, here's how you do it. You either target properties that have been on the market for over 100 days and try to negotiate with the seller who's been, they want to sell the house or it wouldn't be on the market. Okay. Doesn't mean everybody's willing to, but that's one way. Or you reduce your purchase price, meaning that, hey, before you wanted to buy at 500,000, but now you're buying at 4. Or you do a combination of both, right? This is a way to make this work. And you buy something that's real, and when or if the interest rates shift, you make the adjustment. They go down 1.5 or they go down 2%, refinance, get a good raise. That'll be a nice healthy raise to your bottom line every single month. And if it does it again, if we ever see 4% interest rates or 3.5% interest rates, do the refi again or move, whatever you want to do then. But I really wanted to take time to break this down because there's so much uncertainty in the marketplace and people are seeing these crazy interest rates. Well, what feels crazy? And it is, y'all. Let's be honest. When houses cost $400,000 and interest rates are 7%, it is a very difficult environment to operate in for some. For others, they've been waiting for this. There's people on the sideline with cash and they're like, I am so happy we are finally here because now I'm not dealing with nearly as much competition, right? And last but not least on this subject before we get into the cool things the ladies have today is just be mindful because the other side of this is if interest rates just go down, it's going to be Katie bar the door for people buying houses. Okay, I'm telling you right now, when a year ago, people were flipping out over 5.25. If interest rates go to 5.25 right now, it's going to be like 2021 all over again. People are going to be bum rushing the market, multiple offers. They're going to be writing offers like crazy because it's going to feel good. It's like when gas goes to 4 and then it's down to 3 and you're like, yeah, gas is cheap. No, it's not. It's just cheaper, right? So I don't mean to beat up on things, but we're here to share the truth. We're here to share our professional perspective and what's taking place in the marketplace. And it's not always pretty. And right now, it is a bit of a challenge, especially if you're financing a deal. There's lots of opportunity if you got cash. So, you guys got to act accordingly, to what is best for you and your family, what is best for you and your goals, your financial goals, whatever it is for you. So thank you for indulging my enlightenment with just learning about these things and sharing them with y'all. So I love that. All right, let's jump in. Let's head up to, and I think we did Marcia first last time. So let's jump up to Stacy and talk about what is happening up in Pasco County. And what is new, what's popping up there.
All right, so I want to talk about the changes that are happening at the shops at Wiregrass. I know we've talked about this mall many of times. We even did a YouTube video on the shops of Wiregrass, but it was just recently purchased last month by a company, TriGate Capital. They purchased the mall for $70 million. Yikes. But they're putting a huge emphasis on food and fitness because the fitness industry is making a comeback since the pandemic. Mm-hmm. So now there's a growing demand for different types of fitness and health and wellness offerings. So like the retail footprint is kind of changing. I don't know if any of you have noticed in your local mall, if there has been a difference in what you're seeing. But I know I was in Orlando probably 2 months ago. And my daughter and I went to the mall and it was just weird. Like, I felt like there was more non-clothing stores than there were clothing stores. I mean, there was like nail salons and a place to get your eyebrows done and There was a tattoo parlor, and there was even a remote control car store. It was just very weird. I kept walking around thinking, am I at the mall? This is strange. But anyway, so they're kind of rethinking the whole mall thing. So you're not just going there to shop. You're going to go there and eat. You're going to go there and be active. So the Shops at Wiregrass is not a traditional mall. It's an open air mixed mall where you can shop, dine, work, and play. So individuals they're wanting more active and healthy choices. So they have opened quite a few fitness centers at the mall. There's a Club Pilates, which it's been there for a while, but that's an option there. And a new place called Hot Works, which is I would like to look into. Actually, it's a 24-hour access. It's a virtual workout center, and they use infrared sauna workouts.
Mm.
Strange, huh?
I don't understand that.
Yeah.
Well, here it is.
Well, there's a local news channel that was interviewing someone in downtown Tampa who had opened a place, and it did look really cool. It has something to do with muscle recovery and that kind of thing. But yeah.
I have a friend of mine who is into infrared therapy, and she swears by it. She says it's incredible. Yeah. It's very good. So I've yet to try it, but hey, anything that can help an old body move.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
I'm here for it. Let's loosen up those joints. I am down for it. There is no doubt about it. But that's cool. What else?
Yeah, and they're opening a Jabs boxing center, so it's boxing inspired workouts. There's also a center called Optimal Wellness Center. It's a healthy and effective way to lose weight. Works on your physical health and mental health through vitamins and infusion systems. So that's pretty cool too.
There's one in different. Yeah, there's one in West Shore Mall in downtown Tampa as well.
Yeah, and then of course they have the Orange Theory. That's interval training, full body interval training, which has been there a while, and I've heard lots of good things about that place. And then they have a row house, which is a fitness rowing studio.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah. So along with all these new fitness places at the mall, some new healthy food choices are coming in as well.
Yeah.
Yep. There's a place called Blenders. It's a smoothie where you can get smoothies and bowls. There's a Clean Juice, which is all organic, healthy food. Mm-hmm. And there's a Fresh Market, which is also organic and healthy, like wraps and salads. Now that's been there for at least 9 years, and it's always packed there. So
okay, cool.
More healthy choices. And then there's, of course, some new restaurants opening up. I think we talked before about the Mexican restaurant Azteca. There's a new Turkish cuisine called Bosphorus that is opening up.
That looks delicious right there.
I don't know what that is.
I don't know what that is, but I'm here for it.
Yeah. Yeah. And then there's a 365 Cafe Italiano that's opening. It's like coffee and pastries. The not so healthy stuff, I guess.
That's fine too. No, we're not. I'm here to eat.
Yep. And then they have the Irish pub, Noble Crust, which is like a deep Southern Italian food. And then the living room, which I know we all went there about a month ago.
Yeah, we had a nice dining experience there.
Yeah, that was yummy.
Yep.
Yeah. How would you describe the food there?
The living room?
Yeah.
Upscale casual is the way that I would describe that. So it's definitely American cuisine. They a modern twist on classics is probably the best way that I would describe what they have. Fresh, bright ingredients, Big fan of that. They're out of Dunedin originally, so that's where their first location is, and we've eaten there a few times. Kate and I like to go. They'll do live music in downtown Dunedin. So for those of you who don't know, if you ever see the word Dunedin, that's Dunedin. It's not Irish, so like just understand that's what it is. Great spot to go eat and hang out. But it was a great restaurant, clean, bright, open, outdoor seating area. It was beautiful.
Yeah, I thought it was really nice.
Yeah,
And then
it too.
Yeah, and then they just announced they're opening a Paris baguette bakery at the shops. So that's going to be another not so healthy choice, but a fun choice: cakes, pastries, bread, sandwiches. And then, of course, there's been the Pinchers, the Crab Shack is there, and Yamato's, which is a Japanese steakhouse.
Yep.
So lots of food choices. And then something new and exciting that the new owners are bringing to the mall is a workplace called Signature Workplace, which is going to open this month. And for all the locals, it is going in where the Forever 21 used to be. It's over there by where all the restaurants are, basically. And it's a multi-level, 28,000 square feet office where they have team suites, co-working spaces, meeting rooms, and event spaces. There's going to be a wellness room with a cafe. And you can rent private offices there. Some of them even come furnished, which I thought was pretty cool too.
Okay.
But it starts at $495 a month, which is not bad.
Yeah, this co-working thing is really starting to take hold again. Like when WeWork came out, it was very new, and we saw a little bit of push on that, but obviously COVID came and that shut things down. But I'm starting to see more and more of these types of businesses pop back up again, and they seem to be becoming very popular, which makes sense, especially when most people, well, I won't say most, but a lot of people have an opportunity to work from home. And for anybody who's ever worked from home, especially if you have kids, God bless you. I'm in that boat with you.
And dogs. Don't forget the dogs.
That's right. I mean, you're on meetings like this, we've been on calls when my daughter has kicked the door open and let me know that she has to use the bathroom in front of everyone. Right? Like it's just the way the world works when you're going to work from home and you have young kids. So spaces like this become very important to working professionals. So I think that's cool. Wesley Chapel obviously is just growing tremendously. That area up there, you got San Antonio and Murata that's really starting to take root, and there's pretty much if you want it or need it, it exists in Wesley Chapel. They do a really good job up there. There's a lot of traffic and the city's getting big. I mean, over 60,000 residents. They're gonna that place is gonna grow. And but they have space to do it, man. So I think it's a great area out there. So this is awesome, Stacy. Thank you for sharing.
You're welcome.
I appreciate it. Marsha, what do you have on the docket for us today?
I was going to talk about Sarasota Beaches. And since I've become like the expert on on apps to use, I found an app called Visit Sarasota. And it is so cool. You can go and look up beaches, and it tells you the address, what amenities the beach has, what it's known for. But it has a lot of other things. You can look up events in the area. Once I got onto it, I started looking at all kinds of things, shopping, restaurants. I didn't have time to look into it real well, but they have places to stay. So like for our clients who sometimes end up needing a short-term rental, they had rental information in there. So I'm pretty excited about looking into that.
That's very cool.
If you go to, I think it says outdoor or something about outdoors, you'll have the list of beaches. So the beaches I wanted to talk about were all in Sarasota County, going down the shoreline, starting with Longboat Key. That's the longest and most northern key in Sarasota County, and it has over 12 miles of shoreline. The thing it's known for is turtles' nests there.
Yep.
So you'll see all these people that go out and protect their volunteers, and they'll protect the turtles, and they stay on the beach until they hatch, and then they head down to the water. It's really cool to watch. So Longboat Key is also more of a natural and quieter area than say Siesta Key or Anna Maria Island. So it's one of my favorite keys is Longboat.
Yeah, let me pull this in a little bit so y'all can see this a little bit better. Zoom in. You got Anna Maria at the top of the screen there. So the top left of the screen, that's Anna Maria Island. Let me grab some arrows here.
And I didn't mention Anna Maria because I was talking about Sarasota County. So just people know Anna Maria is in Manatee County.
That's right. And you got Longboat, which is what those arrows are pointing towards right now. The 3 arrows that I'm putting in there in front of you guys. You can see those, but yeah, beautiful area there.
Yeah, Longboat's really nice. The next key is Lido Key. And I learned that Lido means beach in Italian. So it was named from someone that was Italian. And that's the one closest to St. Armand's Circle, which is where Juan and I were last week filming St. Armand's Circle, and talked about how you can walk from Lido Beach into town for dinner. There's cool restaurants and shops there. So that's a cool way to spend the day.
Yeah, go to the shore, y'all. I know we was in our Tampa versus Sarasota video, but it's a really cool restaurant. So on the bottom, it's a boutique, clothing store, really nice shop. And then up top is the restaurant. And what's really cool is they have outdoor seating, which is nice. But what I found fascinating, and we had dinner there with a group of colleagues, the back half of the restaurant at night, the roof retracts. And you can go and have a literally starlight dinner, right? It's very, very cool. So I would encourage you to go check out the shore. Beautiful restaurant. Food's wonderful.
Yeah.
Great and the ambience is nice. Really enjoyed it. So Marcia took me for lunch. I appreciate it. Thank you.
It was fun. I enjoyed it. We opted not to sit outside because we were dying outside.
So bad.
So hot.
I sweated through my shirt in like the first 10 minutes of recording.
Oh, we had a lot of laughs, though, so that's okay.
That we did.
So the most famous key is Siesta Key, and it's famous for the sand. It's not one of the top beaches in the United States. Most recently named the second top beach by TripAdvisors in 2023. There's a show about it. It's the place all your visitors will want to go, and it's an awesome place to visit. I think we talked about it before, that on Sunday nights they have a drum circle, all kinds of people dancing and playing musical instruments, and it's something to see. It's fun to go there.
Really is. Beautiful area. And, Sarasota, roughly around 800,000 residents. I think it's about 830,000. And just to give everybody perspective, because it's so hard to wrap your mind around drive times and distances when you're not from an area, right? Like, it's so hard, and understanding like how much real estate we cover, like literally in our territory, just give perspective, because Sarasota, downtown Sarasota to downtown Tampa is approximately an hour. Now, I say approximately because depending on traffic, it can be an hour exactly, or it can be an hour, 20 minutes. Just depends on how much heavy traffic's going on. Okay. From downtown Tampa to Wesley Chapel is anywhere from 35 to 55 minutes, depending on traffic as well. So like, just to give reference on how far these things are apart, right? Like St. Pete to Sarasota is 45 minutes. It's not a big deal in terms of drive time. So like, this is our backyard. That's why I said it's so hard to like say Tampa versus, it's not like it's Orlando. Listen, nobody likes Orlando. I'm kidding. Just kidding. All right. We love Orlando. We love our Orlando people. Like, that's a thing. Like, you people love the swamp, and that's okay. We appreciate the fact that you appreciate that. No, I'm kidding. Just joking. I always beat up on Orlando, but they're awesome people. Okay. But when it comes to coastal and our water babies, which most of us are that live in this region, we appreciate what we have here. You know, these things are very similar, and we talk about this all the time, but there's 35 miles of beautiful Gulf Coast beaches in Pinellas County. Okay. So for those of you that don't know, just want to kind of talk about this a little bit. 35 minutes, you know, from Clearwater Beach all the way down to Paso Grill and Egmont Key and Fort DeSoto, which Marcia's talked about many times on the channel before. And then you skip over to Anna Maria Island. You have to come across the bridge, or you can take a boat. Boat's a nice ride. Strongly encourage you to check out that trip. And then you can start following it down through Longboat Key, down in the Siesta Key. And you got these beautiful beaches taking you all the way down to Northport, right? Before you get down to that Venice, Fort Myers, Cape Coral area. Okay. So just a little bit of perspective, but the whole area here between Tampa and Sarasota is roughly 4 million people in total. Just to give you a little bit of perspective. Okay. Tampa is 3.2, and that's Tampa, Clearwater, St. Pete, Pasco County. You know, we really have 3.5 counties. They count Hernando in there, but we don't. It's Pasco, Pinellas, and Hillsborough for us. And then as you come south, you got Manatee and Sarasota. And then that kind of really makes up the Tampa Bay region for us and our team. Okay. Mm-hmm. So you've got Marcia down to the south who lives in Bradenton. Okay. And she services the Bradenton, Sarasota area all the way down as far south as Venice. And then you've got myself. I live just over the Indian Rocks Beach Bridge here. So, you know, in Pinellas County is my backyard. And then you've got Stacy up in Pasco County. She lives in Dade City, actually, and she covers San Antonio, Wesley Chapel, Odessa, North Tampa. She'll even go into Tampa, and she'll cover my behind, just like Marcia will here too. So we work together to take care of y'all is the point. All right, we just want to make sure that y'all know that we got you covered either way. Marcia, what else you got on the docket for us?
I did finish with Casey Key, which is known for paddle boarding, and it's got great picnic areas and bird watching. When we first moved down here, we learned how to paddle board, and we went down to Casey Key. That was really cool. And then a little bit further south is Venice, and they have 2 beaches, Casperson, and has the only dog beach in Sarasota County. So that's quite a ways south to have to travel to go to a dog beach, but that's where it's at.
Yeah, it's such a bummer. And for those of you who don't know, this is normal. Like, there's only 3 dog beaches in Pinellas County. Right. So it's not abnormal to struggle with these dog beaches. So that's important. Thanks for bringing that up, Marcia, because it matters. Yeah. People that are
and then the final beach is Minnesota Key, and that's got 4 beaches: Minnesota, Blind Pass, Englewood, and Stump Pass. Those are all more natural down there, a little bit more like hiking and things like that occur down there. So just kind of a update. But if you want to look, you can go to the Visit Sarasota app, and I'll tell you all about it.
That's awesome. Great share. What else, Marcia? You had a couple more websites in there, I think.
Yeah. Well, I did a lot of looking just on Sarasota. And one thing, I don't know if any of you know, but Sarasota was the winter home for Ringling Brothers Circus. I didn't know it till I moved here that it was like a big circus town. I've actually met people who are in the circus or who have been in the circus, and their family lives here, and they have elephants, and their life is the circus. So it's pretty cool. There's a Ringling Museum on the Sarasota Bay, and it's 66 acre estate that is absolutely gorgeous, and it's become a art museum. And it's not just circus art, it's all different kinds of art. I think the Ringling family were art collectors, so they share that in the Ringling Museum. To go to the museum, it's like $15, but on Thursdays from 5 to 8, they have a discounted entry fee of $5, and they have like wine and a band or some type of music outside. So that's pretty cool. And then I don't know if you knew this, but they also have the Ringling College School of Art and Design, and it's that's all they teach there is art and design. And it's ranked one of the best in the nation for computer animation, motion design, and game art. But it's not an inexpensive college to go to. It's like $52,000 a year.
Wow. So it's like Florida Polytechnic, right? Like that kind of academics.
Yeah.
That's cool.
All art and design. And then right next to that's the new College of Florida, which I have toured that. And that's a really cool college. They are known for risk takers, trailblazers, and free thinkers is their mantra for that school. So I thought that was cool. There's always so many cool things to talk about in Sarasota. I could go on forever, but the beaches are awesome. And I thought it was interesting for you to know about the museum. And I'll always come to you with more information on things to do in the Sarasota area, including I see Juan put up the farmers market. That's something they offer in Sarasota every Saturday. And they also have one every Saturday at Waterside, which is in Lakewood Ranch. So that's a cool thing to be able to do. And they have like a market at UTC Mall on Wednesday nights, and also something like it at the food truck rally on Wednesdays at Waterside. So if you like arts and crafts and local made items, all those things are fun to attend.
Yeah, I love the farmers markets. Kate likes to go to. The one thing you need to be mindful of, y'all, and when you're in Florida, farmers markets in the summer,
Hot.
Yeah, it is a interesting trip. You can sweat your face off pretty quickly by making it down there, but they're great, especially in the wintertime. As long as you get out early in the morning, you'll be okay. Just be mindful of that, right? Like, because it is definitely a warm time of the year here. I saw that last week that actually it was this week. I follow this guy, is like Mike the Weather Guy. He's got a channel on TikTok, and he said that the Gulf of Mexico's surface water temperatures on Sunday were 95 degrees.
Wow.
That's bath water. Yeah.
And we were just talking to Eric in Michigan. What was the water temperature in Lake Huron this week?
Freezing. It was freezing. I grew up on the Oscoda River and going Lake Huron, and it never gets warm. And that's like one of the warmer lakes, right?
Yeah.
Like Lake Erie got warm, Lake Michigan never got warm, Lake Huron never got well. To me, it never got warm. I know people up there, it gets warm. No, it doesn't get warm. You don't know what warm is.
I grew up where Lake Huron and Lake Michigan meet, and I could barely put my toe in the water. It was so cold. It is like ice water, and that is not exaggerating. It is cold.
That is a fact. There's no doubt about that. Well, I love that. Well, listen, y'all, we did not get into numbers too heavily today, but we talked about insurance. I just think it's important because there's a lot of noise going out there right now. And there's also just the reality of having to deal with this is part of living in Florida. While it is sunshine, flip-flops, and beaches, it also comes at a price, right? It comes with a cost. They're just like everywhere else in this country, you got things to deal with. When I lived in Michigan, we had terrible roads, we had terrible winters, and we never saw the sun. And I'll just share this with you right now. If that's been your life and you're longing for a change, I promise you that the sunshine.
Say that 10 times fast.
The sunshine changes your attitude.
Yes.
100%. Mm-hmm. It rewires you in a way that I just cannot stress enough. It even when things are difficult, it's still nice. And now when it's gloomy for 2 days, I start whining and crying like a little soft cupcake, right? Because I'm so used to seeing the sun. Yeah. And even though you can have the wrath of Florida, during the summer, perspective is everything, right, Alicia? Everything. Perspective is everything. Here's what we don't have: 117 degrees.
It's a dry heat, she said.
Yeah, I have been in that dry heat. So the last time I was in Arizona, it was May, and it was just starting to make that switch out there. And I was like, I have no idea how you people deal with this. Don't give me it's dry heat nonsense. It was warm. And that wasn't summer like it is now. So shout out to you, Alicia, because y'all are wired differently too. But hey, again, when you get the sunshine, you can put up with a lot. Yeah. Right? You can put up a lot. So here's what I'll say. If you are interested in learning more about Tampa, do not hesitate to reach out to us and our team. You can connect with Stacy, myself, or Marsha offline. Go to our DM us on Instagram. All of our contact is listed down below. Here's what I know. Tampa is not for everybody. Sarasota is not for everyone. We have people that come here and make a decision that this is not for them, and that's okay, right? There are some beautiful parts across this country. I have traveled, and I am blessed to be able to say that. And I have seen some incredibly gorgeous pieces of this country. And I think that there's a season and a place for everyone. But if you are into Gulf beaches, right, sun-kissed skin, beautiful weather, and also some challenges, then Tampa is a great place to come. And we're still, again, I say this all the time, and I know people think I'm crazy, but we are still a value coastally. We've went through numbers before. It's not even close. Tampa is a deal. Right now, on average, Sarasota is $112,000 more. Again, it's a 58-minute drive to the south. And on average, it costs $112,000 more as of last week to buy the same asset.
But it's wonderful.
It is wonderful. I'm not telling you not to do it. I just want to share perspective, right? So the whole area has something to offer. And Marsha, I was going through these numbers on the video, right? Like the prices range from $200,000. You can buy a condo in Sarasota right now in the city for $250,000. Okay, in the city of Sarasota. I'm not talking the suburbs, but you can also spend $32.5 million. So then you have a huge range that you can
I guess.
It's fascinating.
What is the $32.5 million by you?
It was
pretty spectacular.
It was like a 6-bedroom, 12-bath, 8,500 square foot, boat, water, whole thing. Zach says the most exciting thing to hear out of all the great things about Tampa. I need that. Yeah, man. The area is beautiful, and the state is gorgeous. We've got our challenges, we've got our foibles, but it's a blessing to be able to call this place home. There's no doubt about it. And Alicia tops it off with her 117 degree heat is miserable. So shout out to you, Alicia. Hey, come to Tampa. It's wet heat. It's not dry heat. It's wet heat here. So you can have a little humidity in your life. It feels good. But we appreciate y'all watching. Don't hesitate to hit that subscribe button, click that little bell, share this out with people who you know are considering moving to the area. And as always, ladies, what do we say to everyone?
Go out and live.